Ndị Igbo ekenenu m unu. Asị m ka ụbọchị nketa dị na na mma. Asị m ka nke onye chiri ya zelu. Asị ndị by good morning, good afternoon, good night. Depends your time and your location. Iji wee na join anyị n'ụbọchị nketa na Eastern News 24. Ebe isi wee na-wetere nnukwu ozi, ebe nnukwu ozi dị oke mkpa. One bụ gbasata maka nnwere onwe Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra freedom. And two bụ gbasata maka Nigeria, ife na-eme na Nigeria. Aka na-ewetara n'iru akwụkwọ na Eastern News 24 maka asonye nụrụ si mee gịnị ya kọrọ nwanne ya. O were ife wetara n'ụbọchị nke taa, just get ya bụ ife nwanne ya nwoke kọwara ya ọfụma. Why Britain is keeping silent on Maazị Nnamdi Kanu's release. Ife a bụ nnukwu research bụ ife anyị wetara unu ụmụ Chineke. Gee ya bụ ife. Geni ya bụ ife, unu ga-esi ya bụ ife, na drop like comment unu ife iche n'iru akwụkwọ gbasata maka ihe ndị anyị nọ n'ụdị nke gị pụrụ iche. Alright, over to you.
Libya under Muammar al-Gaddafi tried. What did they do to him? They killed him. Burkina Faso under Thomas Isidore Sankara tried it. What did they do to him? They killed him. Ghana, under the Osagi of Kwame Nkrumah, tried it. What did they do to him? Removed him from power. Tanzania, under Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, tried it. What did they do to him? They undermined his economy. Mozambique, under Samora Moises Machel, tried it. What did they do to him? They killed him.
Wait, it doesn't end there. What about Ruben Umnyobe of Cameroon? Amilcar Cabral of Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, Felix Mounier of Cameroon, Sylvanus Olympio of Togo, Hamani Diori of Niger, Laurent Désiré Kabila of DR Congo, Samuel Doe of Liberia, Eduardo Mondlane, Mariam Ngouabi, Barthélemy Boganda, Pierre Mulele, and many others.
So whenever you try to decolonize in all spheres, the former colonizer turned policeman of the world or policeman of the world will take you out.
A lot of persons have asked me this question time without number. The question is this: why is it that the Great Britain, they are not interested in the release of Nnamdi Kanu, who is holding their passport, traveling with their passport, and was kidnapped and brought back to Nigeria illegally, and is getting to 3 years now, and the United Kingdom or the Great Britain, they have not even released a statement condemning the Nigerian government of the illegal activities carried out against Nnamdi Kanu. Even the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which is the apex court, had condemned the incident. Now the question is this: you see, all these kingdoms or countries who colonize Africa, there is no doubt that they are still protecting their interests. And what is their interest? Their interests are the crimes they committed in Africa. In Nigeria, the crime they committed, the greatest crime is not even forcing their language on us, forcing their culture and ways to us, but the crime they committed in Africa is the amalgamation of Nigeria. I mean the crime they committed in Nigeria, to be precise. That is the amalgamation of Nigeria. And they believe that when these people are being amalgamated, they will continue to have problem. And when they continue to have problem, now we, the Great Britain, will continue to intervene. And in that manner, we are going to protect our interests. This is just a calculated game. Now, when you look at all these francophone countries, the Ivory Coast, the Senegal, to mention but few, but thank God that the Niger, the Mali, and the Burkina Faso have taken their destiny into their hands. You see, France is still protecting their interests, and they will go to any extent, even to eliminating people who don't want their interests to be protected. Now, when you look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu, you will see that the United Kingdom, they are not interested. The Great Britain, they are not interested in his release. And people would ask, what is going on? Do you think if Nnamdi Kanu was interested in one Nigeria, that these people would also keep quiet? That is not true. You see, these people, they know that the way Nigeria is now, that is their own strength. If Nigeria is progressing, these people will lose everything. If Nigeria is progressing, Nigeria will progress and supersede their power. These people don't want a nation in Africa that will come out and challenge them. So they will do everything possible to make sure that the country will not go forward. And they know that if the indigenous people in Nigeria will have the power to have their own country, rule by their own selves, organize their own security, the Western influence will be gone forever. How would you imagine a country where like people from London, the citizens of the European Union, will come to Africa, to Nigeria, or to Yoruba land, or to Biafra land? They will just come there just to seek for job opportunity to work. Can you imagine a country where people from America will seek, visa to come to Nigeria just to school? They don't want to see those things. All they want to see is a country that is not moving forward, a country that is divided, so that you can always come and borrow money from them, so that you can always come and ask for help from them. But a man stood up, Nnamdi Kanu. He stood up knowing the history of Nigeria, knowing the history and the roots of his people, started educating a lot of people. They hated him. Now, also during the Biafra War, from the history I read, I was not alive then. Great Britain, they sponsor so many countries against the indigenous people of Biafra country. Why? Because they don't want these people to divide. If these people divide, they will lose everything they thought that they are going to gain.
Chinua Achebe said in his book, Things Fall Apart, the white man was very clever. He came and cut the links and the things that kept us together, and he broke them, and things have fallen apart. And what they have now done, we have expelled them. But what I fear, our brothers whom they now work with, whom they have recruited, and who have our skin, speak our language, and are related to us, but they are working for them. The fifth columnists within our ranks, those are the most dangerous.
You see, they install puppets in power, often the very individuals used in assassinating anti-imperialist leaders, whether through coup d'etat or other means. You know what? The most dangerous aspect of these individuals, whom I call puppets, is that they are the worst among Africans. They are the most corrupt ones. They are the ones who don't care about the lives and living conditions of average Africans, opening the doors to imperialist exploitation of their country's resources. Sadly, these are the leaders who have held power across many African nations, caring only about their own pockets and status. When these puppets ascend to power, they form exclusive cabals or hierarchies that have ruled for decades. That's why, even in supposedly democratic systems, elections often amount to mere formalities in many African countries. The will of the people is dismissed, as elections are rigged before voters even head to the polls. If the manipulation isn't done through direct vote rigging, it's done by distorting the political system itself. In some nations, multiple parties contest elections, but a closer look often reveals that the candidates from each party are part of the same entrenched cabal. That's why, when discussing the prevalence of corrupt leaders in power across nearly all African nations today, we must trace this back to the historical activities of Western powers on the continent, which to some extent persist. They removed, or in the worst cases, killed, the leaders who could have established a positive foundation for the newly independent states, and then they installed evil ones who would bow to their demands and say, "Yes, sir," setting the stage for poor leadership for the next several decades. This was a meticulously planned and executed strategy by the colonialists. If that isn't the case, I can't imagine what else could explain it, because corruption and dishonest politicians exist in other parts of the world too. So why is it that only in Africa do the majority of those who gain power end up being the corrupt ones?
And the honest question I am asking is this: do we Africans, we Nigerians, we the people, do we really understand what is going on in Africa? Do we really understand our common enemies? How long will it take us to know that an Hausa man is not your enemy, Yoruba man is not your enemy, Igbo man is not your enemy, Edo man is not your enemy? But our common enemies are these puppets who are the representative of the neo-colonists. These people, they are not interested in our welfare as far as they are in peace with our slave masters, those who came to Africa to destroy everything that we have. These people are our common enemy. They make sure that Africa will never grow strong, so that they can rule over us, so that they can manipulate us, take our resources, lend us money, control us through IMF and the World Bank. This is their strategy. But Most of our leaders are aware of this. Because of their desperation for power, they will connive with these neo-colonists to give them the power, not from the will of the people, to aid them in ascending into the throne. And when they get there, they will only carry out what the neo-colonists ask them to do, and not the people. And the only option that the people have now is for the people to arise and let them know that the power belongs to the people.
Bobby Bodalo Lineno. I square Dalolin and Kunis Opto Buno, Igea Bife, IG Makia, where Baniro Kupona Eastern is 24 over say Uruchinketa. Also the Kibiabo, Geniki Walikuna or Dinkege, Basta Makaya Bife eno, Niba Kefi Waliku or the Nukumba to Salaya. Dela yana edemede nkana o comment session. Kai we pine kandi bo we no. Maka Eastern is 24 ne wote adiko seme. Oguna ko ham no ndi bo na nka bo bosi izugu munnem kabalo ke like and subscribe but turn on notification ke na pe miss any of our update. Dika na drop ya ni akwụkwọ kwamgbe kwamgbe. Dalụ ni munnem ke mesian.